Hello and welcome to my tutorial on how to use my editable board games and then how to play them on either your computer or on your iPad. For the first part of this video, I'm going to show you how to edit and save the boards so that you can then use them with your students. I'm then going to show you how to play these games on your computer, and then I'll be showing how to play on the iPad. So these game boards here come in many different formats so that to meet the needs of your students. And as you'll see, these parts here are editable, and these parts are where you put your targets in. So for example, I've popped my targets in here on this food board. Now I am using my food themed game here for this tutorial. However, the same applies to all of my editable board games. I have one for superheroes, one for the unicorns, and many other themes as well. And so for this game, the idea is that each of these images on the game board, they match one of the targets in your target key, and I'll be showing you soon how to make counters and use the included dice to play the game. But let's first show you how to add your targets. So again, you just add your targets here, and there's tick boxes here to tick off how many times your student says their word if it's articulation, or you can be creative and use it in lots of different ways. This one here I generally use for articulation because it has the multiple production tick boxes. This one here is exactly the same, but it has 20 tick boxes per target. This one here is really great for two-player. I use this one the most with my students. So I'm Brooke and my pretend student is Billy, and he is working on the K initial sound. So I've just popped in his targets there. Took me like 2 minutes to add in his targets, less than that probably for sure. And then there's one here for 3 players, or you could use these kind of boards for if you've got one student working on 3 different goals. And you can list their targets for each goal here. For example, their language targets. If it's categories or synonyms, you could type them in there. You know, if they're working on more than one sound, or if you want initial, medial, final, many options here. And then there's a 4-player one, again, awesome for mixed groups because you can have each student's targets written in their own key that they're working off, or you can just be targeting 4 things at once. Okay, and this one here is for if you had up to 4 players, so each of them have one of these lines of tick boxes and you put their initials up here, but they might all be working on the same targets. So this would be their targets here, and then they would each tick off their own list. You might put their initials up here, for example. Okay, so that's the formats there. Now, and how to add you just type in here, click in the box and type, and that's how you add in your targets. And then what you would want to do is go File, Save As, and then go ahead and choose a place on your computer to save this. And now that is your saved copy of the K initial words for your session. Again, when you want to work on K initial again, you could just open up that PDF and change the name here if it's with a different student, or just have it saved so that you can use it in future. And then you've still got the blank version as your master. So if you ever want the blank version back and you haven't saved yourself a master copy, you can head over to Teachers Pay Teachers and download this again, and the PDFs will be blank. But what I normally do is as soon as I open it up to edit it, I just quickly go File, Save As, and save it as the name of the targets that we're going to be targeting, so I know I have all my targets already saved for my sessions. Okay, so that's how you edit and how you save. Now I'm going to show you how to play the game first on your computer. If you're a teletherapist, you might do this, or if you take your laptop to sessions, you might do this. So as you can see, I'm in Adobe Acrobat Reader, and this is free for most people, well, everyone. I can't see why it's not free for everyone. You just have to Google it, and then you'll be able to download it if you don't already have it on your computer. And in Adobe Acrobat Reader, you can come over here to this toolbar and hit Comment. When you hit Comment, this toolbar here will come up. Also, maybe this annoying little pop-out will happen. Just click this here and it will go back in. And up here on this toolbar, there are many things you can do, and one of them is add a shape. So as you can see here, I've clicked Add Oval, and I've added in this shape here. Let me show you. I'll do it again. Now this could be my next player's game piece. Now as you'll see, this is also green. And we want to have different colored game pieces, one for each person, so I can change that to blue by clicking here. And then I could select it, go Control C, or if you're using a Mac, you'd go Command C, and then Control V, and it will paste it again. As you can see, I've made the opacity. See here, you can move the opacity. I've moved the opacity back a little bit so we can see through it, and then I could change this color if I had 3 players. For example, there's many different options, but we'll just show you this gameplay for 2 players right now for the sake of this example. Now, it doesn't matter where each student starts, I just let them choose. They normally choose their favorite food. So if we pop our counter somewhere, now we need a dice, because this border around the outside here, this is our game board, and you just continue going round and round and round in a clockwise way. Otherwise, if you want, you can do anti-clockwise. You and your student just have to decide. But you're going to need a dice, and so included in this download for those of you using a computer is this Excel dice here. For those of you using an iPad, I have included a spinner that opens in PowerPoint. Or if you're using an iPad, you could just use, if you're doing a tabletop session, whether you're using your computer or your iPad, if you're in person, you could just use a normal dice. For the sake of this product here, this download, let me just show you how we would move this so it could be split screened. See here where there's these 2 squares up here? I'm just going to click that and move this over because I don't want, I want to be able to see the dice. So, and then I'm going to just make it bigger. There we go. And so now we can see the dice and our game board and play both. So I'm just going to hit close here on the commenting, and that will make it so we can see better. So for the sake of this download, I have included the random number generator from 1 to 6, as if you're using a dice that goes from 1 to 6. However, if you're wanting a dice that has the options of randomly going 1 to 3, 1 to 10, 1 to 15, 1 to 20, 1 to 15, 1 to 100. You can choose to purchase my full dice, my full no print dice product from my store on Teachers Pay Teachers. It's quite affordable. If you're on the iPad, I do have a full set of my spinners with the same number ranges. Okay. So how this works is you're going to choose who goes first, and I'm going to just pretend I'm the blue player here, and this is my line, and I'm going to roll my dice, and I got a 4, so I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just picking this up and moving it like you would normally move anything on a computer. And I've got the hamburger, so I go down to hamburger. Oh, and my word is king, and I'm going to say it 4 times because I rolled a 4, or you could have them roll again, or you can just tell them they have to say it 10 times, and then once I've said my word, I can tick it off, and then it'll be the next person's turn. They got a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're on the taco, so Billy has to say kiss, and he has to say it 5 times, and you get the idea. You just keep going round and round and round and round until one person has filled up their entire column here, and the idea is to be the first one to fill up your column. And now gameplay is sometimes fast and sometimes a bit slower, because what will likely happen is you get to the stage where each person only needs one thing to win, and then they have to just keep going around until they land on it. This is a great opportunity to get a bunch of repetitions if you are working on articulation, because I play that even if they land on the hamburger and they've already ticked it off, they still have to say their word. And now let's just show you how this gameplay would work for the other templates. It's essentially the same idea, except for this one, when they land on it, they have to say it 10 times, and then they can tick it off, and then they've done the hamburger. This one, say it 10 times, then the next time say it 10 times. So those top two are best for articulation, really. This could be for anything, any targets. Exactly the same gameplay, except 3 different columns, whether it be 3 different players or 3 different targets. If you're doing 3 different targets with just the same student, then the idea might be that they need to try and tick them all off, or maybe get 3 in a row or something like that, or that they have to tick them all off before they can win or complete the task. Same with the 4-player, and then this one would work the exact same way, and they just go down and tick it off as they say their target or answer their target question. You can, these here, some of them are big enough spaces you could write entire questions in here. Okay, so that's how I would play on a computer. Everything that you will need is either available for free online, like Adobe Acrobat Reader, or is provided to you within this download. So therefore this PDF and this dice. Now let me show you how you would play on an iPad, which is the way I use this the most. I have the edited game board saved on my iPad, and then I can just pull them out and play with my students wherever I am. The first thing you need to do is open this up on your iPad. I find it easier to email it to myself and then open it in the Gmail app, and in that case it will look like this. Otherwise, you can also download it from the Teachers Pay Teachers website in your purchase section, and it will open in the browser and you still do the exact same thing. The app you're going to see me open this in is called NoteWriter. I will link to that in this download so that you have access to being able to download it. It's free. I will talk about the app a little bit in this video. So let's take a look at now how we open this in the app and use it. Okay, so we hit this little box up here with the arrow and it will open up this menu here, and we scroll along to find Notes Writer, which is the app I will be linking to in this description of this download. Okay, and then here it is loaded in that app. As you will see, the words I input earlier are there. However, it is still editable, and if we click in there, it will allow us to write, so we could change our targets on the fly. And then what we need to do is add in our game piece. So I hit the plus button up here and then go to clip art, and I choose to go down to the transportation section of this clip art because that's what my students enjoy the most. I'm going to choose this yellow car, move it over to the right hand side. It's just easier to resize if we take it off the board, and then move it up as my game piece. And now I'm going to do that again. And while I do that, I'll talk a little bit about the spinner we're going to use. If you download the PowerPoint app from the App Store, which is free, you'll be able to open the spinner the exact same way we've opened this, but instead choose open in PowerPoint instead of open in Notes Writer, and it will open the spinner here. And you'll be able to spin it by clicking the yellow spin button and then hit the spin button again to make it stop. And that is what you're going to use instead of a dice. Alternatively, you can just use a normal dice. So I got a 2, so I'm going to move 2. 1, 2, I got Thor, so I need to say kite 10 times and tick them all off because that's the board I'm using for this. It works the same for all the boards. As you can see for this one, I was using the k, the g, and the l sound for my targets. Oh, and now we've got 3, so I'm going to move the blue bike 3 because it's the next player's turn. And to move the game pieces, you just tap on them and then you're able to then move them. So tap and then drag them. And it continues to work this way for the entirety of the gameplay. And just so you're aware, the way that I'm quickly moving between each window is I'm hitting the home button twice. When you hit the home button twice, it gives you the view of all your open apps and you're able to quickly move between the spinner and the games board. So also another thing I wanted to highlight is that this works the same way if you were to send yourself the blank PDF and open this blank PDF in the app, meaning you haven't put in your targets yet. You can do that and then just pop your targets in on the iPad. There's no reason why you have to open it on a computer first and add your targets. I just do it that way because it's easier for me, but you can always just add your targets right here in this app and then go ahead and play the game. Okay, please be in touch if you have any questions, and I hope to make more of these games soon, so keep an eye out for all the different themes. At the beginning of this video we were using the food theme, and obviously for the iPad part we were using the superhero theme. Okay, bye!